What's up, y'all? I wanted to do a video because I've had numerous questions through Twitter, Facebook, and comments on YouTube about the water situation in Jackson right now. Yes, in case you haven't seen it, but it's becoming more so common to see on national news right now. We have been in a boil water notice for 35-ish days. As of yesterday, the day before, the main water plant that serves Jackson, they knew it was coming, but it basically just shut down. One of the pumps broke and been having manpower problems over there. Long story short, this has been going on kind of for years, and it's turned into what we're at today. And basically everybody's shutting down. Restaurants are having to shut down because if you don't have water, you can't run a restaurant. I know yesterday, Barrel House, Walker's on Monday. Today's Tuesday. I'm filming this Tuesday, and this all kind of went down yesterday when our neighbor down here called us at 8 o'clock because they know I'm one of the first ones here, and they were like, "Hey, do you have water?" And now normally we don't have a whole lot of water anyway, and we don't use a whole lot of water. As a locksmith, literally all we need is the bathroom and to wash our hands. I have not even gone in. We're going to go in and check our water pressure in our nasty sink because we've got old pipes. We're one of the oldest sections, older section of the city, so we have horrible pipes, some of which have been replaced. But basically, directly that way, a few miles, is the water plant, another water plant in Jackson. And the other one is up north a little bit in another, kind of at the border of a town that is close by us. I'm surprised the cleaners is here. I guess they're only doing drop-off and pickup because obviously cleaners have to have water to wash clothes. So I'm going to go ask her about that. I'm going to go check our water pressure right now. What I'm most concerned about, and this has happened before, you know, I think there's been like 25 something boil water notices in Jackson over the past 2 years. The infrastructure has been crumbling. They don't have people that are trained to run this. You have to have somebody in these plants that have a certification. They don't have people doing that, so there's been less maintenance on it, less money thrown at it.
If you've lived in Jackson for any length of time, you've dealt with boil water alerts, low water pressure, sometimes no pressure at all. And you've heard a variety of reasons for all of these things happening. Well, tonight, for the first time, we're hearing the water coming through your pipes could be untreated, raw water, because of a failure at the O.B. Curtis Water Treatment Plant's intake pumps. Now, the treatment plant takes water in from the Barnett Reservoir here, where it then goes into a process that we documented actually back in February. It goes through these raw water screens that filter that water one of two ways, through a conventional and a membrane basin and system there. From what we've learned tonight, and again, we're working with very limited information, it appears something in that filtering system failed if raw water is being circulated through the city's pipes without being processed and properly treated first. The governor tonight providing specific information on pumps failing, something Jackson Mayor Chokwe Antar Lumumba and the city's engineer first told us about 2 weeks ago.
There are two primary pumps at the O.B. Curtis facility. Each of those two pumps have two motors. Both of those pumps and both of those motors went out some time ago. There was two backup pumps that were available, as I appreciate it. Those two backup pumps have been operating for a extended period of time. We are hopeful that once we get visibility inside the facility, that we can identify exactly what and where those pumps are and when they may be able to get back online.
Now, the governor also referenced staffing issues, which we talked about extensively, especially the lack of Class A operators at O.B. Curtis. We talked about it a few weeks ago, and they're hoping to help with that as well. Now, there are also challenges when it comes to funding repairs across the board. Our preliminary figure from our three-part investigation 6 months ago was $1.7 billion to fix everything, but that dollar value is not adjusted for inflation. It doesn't even include repairs to the pumps we talked about tonight. What lawmakers are alluding to now is state and federal help that would be needed to get this system back to where it needs to be. Again, something we have told the public and lawmakers about for months.
And then the city itself has been screwing around with the water bills. So basically the water bills that people pay for your water have not been getting paid because the city has been messing up with the billing of it, and people have been getting incorrect bills. If you go back 3 or 4 years, we had a Siemens thing where they came in and put in these remote water meter things. So you know the guy that drives around and checks should be able to go just down the street and check it online or on his little machine. That was a whole fail because it was reading wrong. Anyway, eventually they sued them, got a bunch of money, spent a bunch of it somewhere, spent a bunch of it replacing all those brand new meters that were put in. Long story short, I mean, I could go on and on. This has been going on for years. And even though we don't live in the city of Jackson, we live close by. Our office is obviously in the middle of Jackson. I am concerned about all of our customers that don't have water, and ARF. We're gonna try to run over there and see what's going on and find out from the director of Animal Rescue Fund what's going on, because they have like 300 animals in the shelter. Animals require water for cleaning the cages, for cleaning the dishes, for cleaning the materials used, and obviously for drinking. And the animals have to have relatively clean water. You know, these are domesticated animals. Dogs need clean water just like humans do. So even if they have water pressure, which I doubt, they're not going to have enough pressure to really do what they have to do. And they definitely don't have clean enough water because it is filtering straight out of the reservoir apparently. Now, I'm going to go ahead and put a clip in of ABC as I was walking out the door this morning. This clip came on ABC News, so I'm going to go ahead and post that here.
We've been in a water crisis for weeks now, but this is a significant escalation. We have our drone up in the air this morning. You can see the water treatment facility that's at the center of the problem. We're told that a main water pump there is broken. They're doing emergency management to try to get it fixed, but right now, as many as 180,000 residents have no drinkable water or even no water at all. This morning, people in Jackson, Mississippi are being told to accept little or no drinkable running water for an undetermined amount of time. The Lieutenant Governor saying the water and sewer system is at the brink of collapsing.
It means the city cannot produce enough water to fight fires, to reliably flush toilets.
All Jackson public schools now switching to virtual learning indefinitely. In some parts of the city, the fire department is finding no water in fire hydrants, instead relying on the supply on board trucks.
All of our units have 500 gallons of water on it, and the guys can use that water to sustain a lot of incidents.
The warnings come after a pump at the city's troubled water treatment facility was damaged.
There was a near certainty that Jackson would fail to produce running water sometime in the next several weeks or months. Unfortunately, that failure appears to have begun.
Jackson residents have already been under boil water notices since last month when water samples found harmful contaminant levels, making matters worse. Flooding from the Pearl River, cresting Monday just below major flood stage.
You can see for yourself, River Road looks like a river this morning. This neighborhood is completely underwater.
And today there will be distribution sites set up to get residents clean drinking water, but of course those will take time to set up and to acquire all the bottled water. But right now, anything that's going through those pipes, officials say it will be straight from the reservoir, completely untreated. Michael?
So about 10 minutes ago, I turned the water on in the back and put a clean, brand new plastic bin in there. It's yep. Took 10 minutes to fill this. Straight out of the faucet. And that's why we don't drink Jackson water. Or do anything with Jackson water.
Before we interrupt your usual program for breaking news, Mississippi Governor Tate Reeves is holding a news conference to address Jackson's water crisis. We take you there now.
But that it was a near impossibility. We were told on Friday that there was no way to predict exactly when, but that it was a near certainty that Jackson would fail to produce running water sometime in the next several weeks or months if something did not materially improve. We began preparing for a scenario where Jackson would be without running water for an extended period. Over the weekend, we started developing water distribution plans, sourcing tankers, and assessing all of the risk associated with an event like this. We also set a meeting for today between the mayor and our experts. All of this was with the prayer that we would have more time before their system ran to failure. Unfortunately, that failure appears to have begun today.
It's so important to communicate to everyone from a public health standpoint as a state health officer that first and foremost for our agency, we are concerned about preserving and protecting the public health of the citizens of Jackson and the surrounding area. In our regulatory capacity, we have been monitoring the city's water, which is why we've been on a boil water notice for over 30 days now, and have also been monitoring plant operations and trying to identify problems as best we could to determine where we really stood with things and what was the foreseeable future that we'd be looking at in terms of needing to be prepared for a response. Last week, it became evident that we needed to be prepared for the eventuality that occurred today, and actually state resources are being marshaled last week. The public health concerns are significant based on failure of multiple pumps that pump raw water at O.B. Curtis, severe understaffing at both Fuel Water Plant and O.B. Curtis, very low water pressures in the overhead storage tanks, which is why the city of Jackson today, there was very poor water flow and reaching the point where we can no longer flush the toilets, which is impacting individual sanitation in our homes and our institutions and certainly in our educational facilities, which is going to impact the ability of our students to be attending school. And very importantly, from a public health standpoint, as the governor said, the water is not safe to drink, and I would even say it's not safe to brush your teeth with because we are not seeing adequate chlorination and the inability to consistently disinfect the water. So you need to boil the water for 3 minutes fully and conserve your water, but husband your water resources, but make sure that as you're brushing your teeth and using any water to drink or prepare your meals that it is safe.
Water crisis thing, I hope it gets straightened out. You know, the state's supposedly stepping in to take over and take control of everything like the governor said, but as far as us, we're fine. You know, barely enough water to flush the toilet. That's really all we need because we bring bottled water up here once a week. We bring jugs and jugs of bottled water for our plants, for the dogs that come up here, and just for like washing hands, because you can't even wash your hands in that water now. So now we have to use not bottled water, but water from another jurisdiction that we're bringing with us that is safe and clean to drink. So anyway, that's it on that. Floodwater's going away, thank goodness. And yeah, just you'll see it on, if you hadn't seen it yet, if you watch any news or any national type news, it's bound to be on there. But that's how things are right now in Jackson, unfortunately. But we are okay. So thanks for checking on us. And I'm going to work now. Keep your fingers crossed for Jackson, y'all. So a quick update on this video before I finish it off is I did find out from ARF that they don't have water, and they've put out a call for, you know, anybody that can bring bottled water. So I'm gonna empty my van out as much as I can and try to load up some, hopefully from Walmart in the morning before I come into the shop. Yeah, my van won't hold a lot. Like 1 gallon of water weighs like 8 pounds, according to Google anyway. So I'm going to load up as many as I can. I'm going to empty out my truck as much as I can and then run by there. And hopefully they'll have some gallon-sized containers of water. And it'll help as much as I'm able to, as much as I'm able to fit into the truck. I figure if I pull out 300 pounds of stuff, I can put in 300 pounds of water and get it over to the shelter in the morning. Hopefully they were able to make it today. The shelter closes at like now, 6 o'clock. So I'm not able to run over there. I'm not able to do all this and get over there and before the end of the day, before they already have gone for the day. But I'm gonna try to do that first thing in the morning and at least get as many jugs as I can over to them. Hopefully the store that I go to will have some gallon-sized water jugs. So anyway, that's just Another day in Jackson. We're going to use some of y'all's super chat money. Appreciate that for posting the funds on our silly Saturdays, and we're just going to push that money straight over to them for bottled water so that they can keep their dogs and cats in the shelter, with fresh, clean drinking water. So anyway, that's it. Again, keep your fingers crossed that they get it sorted as quick as possible, because purchasing water to do stuff with is like literally the last thing that a shelter that depends on donations that's the last thing they need to be doing. But again, they're used to after doing it. It's happened before. Hopefully it won't happen again, but I'm not going to keep my fingers crossed on that. Anyway, thanks again for watching. Questions or comments, post them in the comments section. We'll catch y'all next video. Thanks.